My name's Sarah. I'm 29 years old, and up until recently I had everything I thought I wanted. A successful career, a beautiful apartment, a group of loyal friends, and a boyfriend who seemed to check every box. At least, that's what I told myself. But the reality? The reality was far from perfect. Mark and I met 5 years ago. He was the type of guy you couldn't help but like at first. He had that charming, laid-back demeanor that made you feel comfortable, like you could sit with him for hours and just talk about anything. He wasn't overly aggressive. He wasn't domineering. And he wasn't trying to impress anyone. He was just easy to be with. At first, I admired that about him. I didn't need someone who would always be the center of attention. Mark was calm, thoughtful, considerate, a great guy. But as time went on, I began to notice the cracks. At first, I tried to ignore them, but they grew harder to avoid. He was always so predictable. Mark didn't challenge me. He didn't push me to think outside the box. He wasn't ambitious like I wanted him to be. He didn't have the drive I craved, and that drove me crazy. I didn't want to admit it, but I started feeling like he wasn't enough. I started comparing him to other people I'd meet in business meetings, at social gatherings, or even just on a night out with friends. I found myself wondering, why wasn't Mark more like them? He never seemed to want to take the lead in our relationship. The decisions? Always left to me. What we ate, what we did, where we went. It felt like I was doing it all alone. And deep down, I resented him for it. But I never told him. Not until that night. We were having dinner at home, just like we did every Wednesday. But that night, everything felt off. The food was fine, the wine was good, and the apartment was quiet. But I couldn't shake the feeling of frustration building inside me. The more I tried to ignore it, the more it grew. "Mark," I said, trying to keep my voice calm, "I think we need to talk." He put his fork down, his face a little confused but willing to listen. "About what?" he asked. "It's just, I don't know, everything feels so flat, you know. I don't feel excited about anything anymore. And I keep thinking it's because you're so passive. You never take the lead. You never make decisions. You just let me carry everything," I said, the words coming out sharper than I intended. Mark's brow furrowed slightly, but he didn't argue. "I didn't know you felt that way." "Well, I do," I said, frustration creeping into my voice. "I've been trying to tell you for months, but you never listen. I need more from you, Mark. I need someone who can push me, someone who doesn't just follow me around like a puppy. I need someone who challenges me, someone who inspires me. But you're just comfortable." And honestly, I'm tired of it. I watched him closely as I spoke, and his face was blank, not angry, not even defensive, just empty. I wanted him to shout, to argue, to tell me I was wrong, but he didn't. "That's how you really feel?" he asked quietly, his voice soft. I nodded, my heart pounding in my chest. The words came out before I could stop them, and I didn't even care anymore. "You'll never be good enough for me, Mark," I said coldly, not even recognizing the cruelty in my own voice. It was like the air left the room. He sat there, staring at me, his face a mix of confusion and hurt. But still, he didn't say anything. I thought maybe he'd argue back. Maybe he'd try to convince me he was better than I was giving him credit for. But no, he just looked at me like he had heard it all before, like this wasn't new. He stood up slowly, his chair scraping against the floor. I expected him to say something, but instead, he just grabbed his jacket from the back of the chair. He turned to face me one last time. "Okay." The word hit me like a punch. Okay, that was it, that was all he had to say. But he didn't stop. He didn't yell, didn't argue, didn't beg me to take it back. He just said, "Okay," and walked out of the room. He didn't even look back. The door clicked shut behind him, and I sat there, frozen, the weight of my words sinking in. I sat there for what felt like hours, replaying the entire argument in my head. Did I really just say that? Did I really tell him that he'd never be good enough? Was this really how I wanted to end things? But it was too late for second thoughts. He was gone. I tried calling him, texting him. I left messages saying I was sorry, that I didn't mean it, that I was just angry. But he never responded. Not that night, not the next day. And by the time a week passed, I was beginning to realize just how final this was. I spent my days in a haze of regret, constantly checking my phone, hoping for a text or a call. But there was nothing. just silence. That's when it hit me. I had destroyed everything. The one person who always stood by me, the one person who loved me unconditionally was gone, and I had pushed him away because I couldn't appreciate the good things I had. I wanted more, and in trying to get it, I lost the best thing I ever had. A month later, I ran into him at a coffee shop. He was with a group of friends, looking happy like nothing had ever happened. He didn't even see me at first. And when our eyes met, he didn't smile. He didn't even acknowledge me. He just nodded, said hey, and turned back to his group. That's when I realized he was gone for good. And this time, there was no turning back.